Jonathan Feigen, who covers the Rockets, the beat writer for the Houston Chronicle, joining us. And Jonathan, any drama, any updates here?
Well, I don't know if James Harden's been able to get his league pass working so he can watch the preseason game tonight. That might be drama. Other than that, I think today's been quiet so far.
All right, update us on where things stand. What is fact and what is fiction here with the Rockets and Harden?
Yeah, I mean, the overriding fact is he wants to be to a team he can consider a contender, which he considered the Rockets to be in past years, and apparently no longer feels that this team is a championship contender. That part hovers over everything. He showed up on Tuesday, began his COVID protocol testing, should be able to practice when the team gets back from Chicago on Monday, assuming everything goes well with the testing. And the Rockets have to decide what they want to do is slow play this as much as possible, take their time, determine when, if they are to deal him, they can get the best deal now, trade deadline, or next summer, factoring in that if you can determine, I get a better deal later, you also have a chance, however small or to whatever degree the chance is, that he'll decide, hey, this team's good, I want to be here. I don't know how great a chance that is, but if you trade him, there is no chance of that. So there's advantages for them to wait.
What do you make of the report yesterday that you can add the Miami Heat and Milwaukee Bucks to that list with the Nets and the 76ers? Who's adding that? Harden is adding that?
Yes, but he had previously told them contenders. So putting names by the word contenders doesn't really change much. We can all determine who the contenders are. And if we were, we would probably start with the best record in the league last year and the team that went to the finals in the Eastern Conference last year. So that doesn't really move the ball when it comes to the decisions the Rockets have to make. The Rockets, if they are to trade him, they can trade him anywhere they want. And to me, if you're a bad team, if you're a team stuck in that never get in the playoffs or barely fight to be a first-round loser team, hey, load it all up. Go for him. Now, most of those teams don't have anything to load up or not enough, but the Rockets are not in any way compelled to move him to a contender. They just got to move to whatever team gets the most back, which is a future star. They want his successor as the next star, and they want a haul of draft picks.
Why aren't the Knicks in on this, Jonathan? Like, the Knicks usually do something stupid, and why not have somebody that people will show up to watch?
Well, there's a chance the Knicks are no longer the stupid Knicks, that they finally have escaped that. But do they have the guy who's going to be that next star? Yeah. Do any of their young up-and-comer, R.J. Barrett or something, to the Rockets say, oh boy, we're going to rebuild around that guy? That's where they fall short. Okay. And so and that's where we can both go back and forth. Well, what about this? What about Cleveland? What about Minnesota? You start looking at teams and you can make the money work, but who's got a next best player? In other words, teams aren't trading their best player. Whose next best player fits the Rockets' criteria of a successor to James Harden?
And I'm trying to understand this, though, Jonathan, and you're there on the front lines, but it feels like James Harden has been running this organization for a while, or at least deciding who's coming and who's going. If it's a coach who's going to be going and another coach comes in, I think he might have wanted Ty Lue instead of Silas, but James Harden was trying to build himself a championship team. It didn't work, and now he wants out, and I got to blame him for some of the things that have happened here. Like, he doesn't take ownership in this to say, you know what, it didn't work, let's try another way, a new philosophy.
Yeah, it's good to be the king. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, the most obvious example is he really wanted to reunite with Russell Westbrook. They remained friends, and they do still, by the way. They are still friends, and they never really had issues, but they weren't a good fit from the idea. And obviously to now, he wanted that, and the Rockets, to use their term, went all in for that. I mean, two lightly protected first-round picks, Chris Paul, and 2 potential pick swaps. They traded much of their future. And now they thought it was good too. At the time, Chris Paul had an injury-filled year. They thought there was a chance that would be the future for him. So it's not like he dragged them kicking and screaming and they didn't want it, but they did it to appease him. That's not it at all. But he wanted it badly. And he made that very clear to Daryl Morey, who went all out to go all in. And I mean, that's the most obvious example. But yeah, he's made a lot of decisions or had a lot of influence, and he's been kept in the loop on all kinds of things for years because they thought, Daryl especially believed, that creates a partnership. Well, the partnership doesn't seem to be going very well right now because it's sort of like, hey, we had a great year, 8 years of marriage, but I found somebody better. The one you want to leave isn't too thrilled with that.
What happens next year?
I think the most likely thing is he shows up and practices Monday, and they carry this on into the season in the hopes that they'll be good enough that he is a very prideful player. He's a very driven player. They're not concerned he's going to pout his way through the season or anything like that. The Rockets don't believe that'll be the case. It's a huge setback, though, with a new coach and a lot of new players. It's a huge setback losing a week of practices with him in this kind of season. But that's what is the most likely. If they're not a good team, if they're a fringe playoff team, do they have to make a move at the trade deadline, or do they do it next summer? One thing to keep in mind, Rafael Stone, the new general manager, is very capable of saying no. James, I want to be traded. Do it now. No. Yeah, but I want to go to Brooklyn. No. Rafael can do that, and he would do that. Whatever decision they make is going to affect this franchise for 5 to 7 years. So half a season when there's hardly any fans in the building anyway, they can put up with that and do whatever they think is best whenever that comes.
Who's in better shape, the Rockets or the Texans?
Well, the Texans have the superstar, right? They have Deshaun Watson. So my inclination is to say them. The Rockets have the asset, and it is basketball where, one great asset brings one great player. You're suddenly a factor. I'll say the Rockets. The Rockets have a general manager. They have a coach. They have a general manager. Both teams have stars right now, although it's probably more unpleasant right now and difficult. They really like the coach they picked. They're very happy with that choice. The Texans don't know who their coach is going to be. So, Rockets.
Jonathan, should be fun. We appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks. You too. Happy holidays.
That's Jonathan Feigen. He covers the Rockets for the Houston Chronicle.